So we're going to do them all in one take. So we're adding and subtracting fractions basically with the same denominator. So not too bad. The next one with unlike denominators, it's a lot more work. So on the warm-up, I'll just give you an example. You have the same denominator. So if you have the same denominator, you should know that you can just add the top together. So you get 4 over 2, which is just 2. These have the same denominator, so you just worry about the top. 5 minus 7 is negative 2. If you simplify that, that's negative 1/3. All right, so we might have to simplify. So make sure you have the common denominator. And then you're going to combine the numerators because you have the same denominators. And then you might have to simplify like we did in those warm-ups. All right, same denominator. I'm just going to highlight all my same denominators so you can show it. Same denominator, same denominator. Same denominator, same denominator. All these right here on the screen are the same. So when we do them, we only care about the top. But you need to be careful about subtraction, and we'll talk about that on number 2. So 13a and 5a added together is 18a over 4a squared. I need to thicken up this pen. So you just simplify. 18 and 4 are both divisible by 2. So if you take 18 divided by 2, you get 9. If you take 4 divided by 2, you get 2. And the a would cancel here with this one and leave you with 1a on the bottom. So that would be your final answer. Now, I told you with subtraction, you have to be careful. And anytime you subtract, you need to put parentheses around it. And that's because you're subtracting the entire thing. You're not just subtracting 7x. You're subtracting the 7x from 9 and the 2 from 12. So you need these parentheses. Okay, so 9x minus 7x is 2x. And 12 minus 2 is 10. And it's positive 10. We have 16. Well, we might have to simplify. And if there's more than one term, you might need to factor. And most likely by greatest common factor. Okay, so the greatest common factor on the top is it's 2 because they're both even, which would leave you with this. And the 2 and 16 can simplify, leaving you with 8. So you have x plus 5 over 8, and that's all you have. All right, number 3. Okay, you're just adding like terms. We know the bottom's staying the same because they have the same bottom. So there's no y squared on this side, so we just have y squared. And we have 8y and 2y, which is 10y. And 21. Now, this has 3 terms, so you are going to factor, but this is a trinomial, so you have to do a little different. So we find the factors of 21 that get you 10. Well, that's going to be 1 and 21, or 3 and 7, and 3 and 7 is our answer. So we're going to have y plus 3 and y plus 7, and then we need to factor the bottom. Now, there's 2 terms here. Okay, they're subtracting. And you can take the square root, and that's where you find the square root of each. So the square root of y squared is y, the square root of 9 is 3, and then you do the additions version. So these cancel out, leaving you with y plus 7 and y minus 3. Okay, so there is some factoring involved. Okay, you need to get used to it now because the next lesson we're going to be doing tons of that. Now, remember when I told you it all means that this whole thing is subtracting if there's a subtraction sign here? Well, that's only if there's more than one term. So you really just have this. Pretty simple. But we need to simplify this. This is not the final answer, okay? You're most likely, if there's an addition or subtraction sign in here, you're going to have to factor. So we're going to factor this the same way as the y squared minus 9. And that's because there's 2 terms, they're subtracting, and you get the square root. So you 1 minus 4a and 1 plus 4a. Because the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of a squared is a. And then these only have like terms, and that usually only happens, or greatest common factor, if it's a to the first power. So take a 3 out because they have in common, and that'll leave you with 4a minus 1 because you're dividing this whole thing by 3. This by 3 and this by 3, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Now we talked about if you have something with the exact opposite signs, when you can cancel on, but you have to leave a negative, and this is the case. Positive, that's negative. This is positive, that's negative. So they cancel out, but with a negative. So I'm just going to leave it on the top. I don't really need to put it through. It's okay. And this is your answer. All right, last 2. Yeah, these ones are a little bit of work. So you're subtracting this entire top, so you need to think of it that way. N squared has nothing to subtract with, so I want to just write n squared. You have 3n minus n, which is positive 2n, and negative 7 minus 1, which is negative 8. And you have n squared plus n minus 6. Well, like I've been talking about, we need a factor. So the factors of 8 that give you 2 are going to be 4 and 2. Okay? Because this is negative, the symbol in front will tell you what the larger number has to be. And the larger number is 4, so it's positive. Factors of 6 that will get you 1 would be 2 and 3. And since this is negative, the larger symbol is going to be positive because of this right here. And the only thing that cancels out is right here. So you're left with n plus 4 and n plus 3. And sorry, that looks like an H. All right, I will admit this one's going to be a little bit more work, so we're going to have to do that. Okay, 13k squared plus k squared is going to be 14. We're going to make a line. Is 14 k squared. And negative 9k plus 2k is negative 7k. All over the 6k squared minus 5k plus 1. Well, there's two terms up here, and yes, they're subtracting, but you can't take the square root of 14 or 7 or k. So that's not the difference of perfect squares way. So this is greatest common factor, and the greatest common factor is 7k. So if you divide everything by 7k on the top, that gets you 2k and minus 1. Now the bottom is what the work is. There's a 6 in front of it. Anytime there's a number in front of your, like x squared or k squared, you're going to have to do the bottoms up method. So 6 to the 1. And then you factor as normal. So let's see if this works. 6 and 1. So if I do negative 6 and positive 1, a negative times a negative, or negative times a positive does not give me a negative. So you have to be careful. And I knew those choices were wrong, just to let you know. But there's sometimes where there's two possible answers, so you need to really think it through. So if these are both negative, negative 2 and negative 3 get me negative 5, and negative 2 times negative 3 gets me 6. But you need to undo what you did. So divide by 6, simplify the fraction, so that's 1/3. That 3 kicks up because it's the bottoms up method. And this simplifies to 1/2, and that 2 kicks up because the bottoms up method. So we have 3k minus 1 and 2k minus 1. So these cancel, leaving you with 7k and 3k minus 1. All right, that's the end of your notes. Hopefully that helped. Stay safe, stay healthy.